Hello, YouTube. This is Ben Gessel. This is the 12th video that I made. It's September 19th, I think, 2016. So, this particular video is going to be, again, a bit more, talk a bit more about one of my more preferred subjects, favorite subjects, dreams, and video games. Uh, this is kind of the part two in a way. Well, I've done some other videos like about this subject before, but so I'm just gonna with this video mention some other dreams I've had that I think some of them often have a direct application with video games. But so I'm just gonna go through here again, kind of bit by bit here. Um, so this first dream, I think the overall mood, the way the feeling I had when I woke up was a mixture of excitement and darn it, I want to keep playing that game. But yeah, this dream, I remember this was kind of a first person, mainly a first person uh, kind of setup. Everything was coming from my own eyes, my own perspective, and so in a way, the way the game was somewhat similar to, if I don't know if you've played the Wheel of Time from the late 1990s, but that or any first person type game really, but more 90s to 2000, early 2000s graphics. Um, and most areas of of my dream, like I say, it was a dream where I was actually the main character in a video game, and everything's coming from my eyes. But most areas were pretty sunny, outdoors, a wide variety of different places that I remember, that I can remember. So of course there were starting lower levels, there were lower first areas, a lot of different smaller uh, creatures, smaller, weaker type characters, a lot of house elves, goblins, you know, gnomes, that sort of thing. A lot of Christmassy type places, a lot of pretty places. So hedge mazes and jelly beans and that kind of thing, candy areas. Uh, and then a little later on, bit by bit, there were certain places where I was kind of ambushed. All of a sudden, I was surrounded by a bunch of enemies, a little bit like Dragon Age Origins, where all of a sudden, whoa, there's like 20 different guys trying to get you. And offhand, I can't remember if I was able to have any other party members. I don't think so. It would have been great to do that, like in Baldur's Gate, for instance. But Neverwinter Nights 2, I think. I'll do some expansions. So a lot of places in this game were kind of very peaceful and nice, and um, kind of some European architecture in different places, German or English or French or something. A lot of Swiss, a lot of German type looking buildings. Um, Here and there, a lot of flower gardens and things. So it was a nice, very scenic. Not too many Asian or other type places, maybe a little bit, but so all these different pretty areas, areas that were unicorn type areas, people playing flutes and things. Of course, the one place I remember in particular that was a little bit more ominous. It's like a very big cathedral, dark cathedral. You go in and monks are just chanting something really ominous and kind of a little bit scary sounding. It's also the last area I remember in this dream was kind of a really techie type area, a lot of jets, and by this point, I guess the combat difficulty in combat was quite a bit higher. So I was dodging lasers and jet, uh, all kinds of stuff. So that was like the level like in 30. So I'm wondering actually if I had some shortcuts in this game in this dream, if I was able to go from level 9 to level 20 or something. I just remember waking up and I was like, oh man, I almost beat this game. I was almost done. Anyway, that was one of the more enjoyable dreams I've had. One of the more enjoyable dreams I've had that was very video game oriented. Of course, another dream. Some of these are a little bit more, not quite as spectacular perhaps, but I was playing a bunch of different games, arcade games, more in some place that kind of resembled a school meets a arcade or computer lab, extended computer lab. But there was a bunch of different computer labs, basically, or a bunch of different computers. And so I was playing a game, for some reason a few of the games, again, this is all in a dream, suddenly they stopped working the way they're supposed to, and there was a bunch of pop-ups that just came up on the screen, and something that caused me to think that it might have been like a virus that just came on. So that happened a few times. Of course, I shut the computer down immediately, and I was really, really scared. And then, of course, shortly after this, I remember waking up, and I was just like, oh, it's a dream. Nice, cool. No viruses. That's great. So, of course, computers have come up a little bit. Just, computers in general, my dreams here and there. Time to time, often relating to school in some way. Not just games, but math and spelling games, educational sorts of games. I played in school, I remember playing in school a little bit, like word processing kinds of things. Yeah, I hate it sometimes when you have dreams about anything that's more mundane or the kinds of things that you didn't like to do as much when you're younger. But, that's the nature of dreams, I guess. So, So yeah, I remember, often looking behind my shoulder to see if there were teachers that were seeing that I was playing something recreational other than working on something I was supposed to work on the computer. Some of these classes in this dream. Wondered, of course, how I was doing with the rest of the class, if I was a good level, was ahead of the class or was behind the class. So if I was typing, if I was doing typing, was it typing fast enough? Wondering if I was staying on task, kind of thing. That's something I think a lot of kids deal with in general, just in the classroom environment in general. So, that phrase, staying on task, I know that's kind of something that probably sounds very familiar to a lot of folks. So in this dream, of course, I'm the way that the classrooms were, it was actually kind of a little darker than when I was in school. The classrooms were darker, and the main light was coming from the computers themselves. Kind of a lot of blues and greens and purples coming from the computers themselves. Not a lot of light coming from other sources. So it's kind of darker. It's kind of weird that way, but it's almost like whatever we were doing was on DOS. So there's a lot of black screens with those colors and things that showed up. And I had the feeling that when I finished it, when I woke up and I was like, oh, did I finish everything I was supposed to? Did I do all the things I was supposed to? So it's a little bit more of a busy kind of dream. It's not quite as enjoyable. But just to go on here, just share a few other things, and I'll get to more video game type things here in a bit. So of course there's another dream I remember having involved me being at some kind of ski resort or place, and I don't know if it didn't seem like Europe in particular. It seemed more like a Whistler, Canada, or like a ski resort that was kind of patterned after a Swiss or Austrian or whatever Southern German type place. So I was walking around from shop to shop in this place, looking at a few restaurants, and just kind of hanging out. I was looking for people, of course I knew, but of course in this dream couldn't find anyone that I knew. So yeah, it was one of those dreams where it was very scenic, and it was but no matter what I did, it was this growing feeling of, oh geez, it would be great if I saw someone I knew, or it'd be great if I could just talk to some folks. So it was a little bit on the lonely side, that dream. That's not definitely a feeling you have where you're around a bunch of people, and a bunch of people, throughout the day, and if you don't know anyone and you just, whatever, it's like, yeah, it's very easy to feel lonely in the crowd, kind of dream. So, of course, going with the kind of the urban idea, one of the dreams I've had that was more kind of the big city environment was, I stepped into some kind of candy or antique shop one time in this dream, and it had a lot of old stuff, a lot of wrought iron things, and kind of you have the coppery, brass, bronze objects that are kind of getting green with oxidation, or I don't know, whatever you call it, or just a lot of old stuff. And I came across, it was very big. This is a kind of both an antique store and a candy store, or something along those lines. And it's a very big, kind of shoulder height. So it's a old green tinged kind of copper bronze type candy dispenser. Some sort. It came up to my shoulders. It was kind of the shape of the whole thing was kind of gumdrop shaped, just rounded at the top, and it was just it was dispensing gumdrops. You could have them for free, and it had these little button things. You can push the button and you can get candy. It came out, and I also had other things like licorice and stuff. And so, yeah, I think I actually remember having some kind of taste in this dream, which was kind of unusual. I know, at least a little bit. It just, I don't know. Can't explain it. So, but then of course, right after I had some candy or something like that, I remember feeling like I was about to be chased. Or I think I remember seeing some folks are outside. They're trying to get me or something. They're trying to capture me. So I remember running out of the antique store away from where they were going. They were going through the way I came in. So I evaded them. I raced out into the city outside and started flying. So I was trying to get away from these guys. But I think they were pursuing me. And so I entered this other building that was very tunnely, all these different tunnels. And all the tunnels were going all over the place. They were going all over the place. And the building itself reminded me vaguely a little bit of one of the buildings that was in one of the cities in, I think, Elder Scrolls Morrowind. One of the southern building was like the southernmost city in that game. It was a big city. I can't remember what it's called, but it had all these big tunnels and it was a big wood building. But these tunnels were a little bit narrower. Reminded me a little bit of the architecture at the old Desert Towers at BYU before they built the new ones. And so I was in some tunnels. I was just crawling, just very narrow, very small. The main thing was trying to get away from these guys that were chasing me, and anyway, I think I evaded them. But anyway, coloring inside these tunnels was like a lot of reds and browns and blacks, so it was a little darker. So anyway, that's just a few dreams to share with you guys I've had in the past. I found that so in general, and this is my experience playing video games, and just what I know about the nature of video games. Video game levels, different areas, I guess, video game levels, they've often been defined by programmers and that sort of thing as by their different landscapes or color schemes, as well as different things that you do those different places, and the brightness of different levels. So I've always liked that concept. There's this these different stages in the game. Some games have really kind of done away with that idea, but I think there's still something to that. So I think it's extremely important in that regard, if you're going to go with that, for the programmers to go that route, to keep presenting new landscapes or different ideas of different kinds of color combinations. Something not necessarily clashing, but something that hasn't been done very much before, or not as much before. For instance, just a general image that's come to mind. I think I remember looking at some architecture in Europe, France or Belgium or something, and there were some folks that were doing these different colored polka dots on a white background, kind of an interior design idea. But, so there's a lot of white, so it was kind of a nice bright kind of inside, but then the different colored dots everywhere, even the different colored stripes, had a real quality about it, where it was a little bit. It wasn't clownish. It wasn't carnivalish. It was more artsy looking, with the way that we're kind of treating the color, the types of color they were using. So it wasn't too saturated. It was a little bit of color here and there with the white, kind of toning everything down. So I think at the end it's important to just keep, we're always quick to notice things that have been done before, and quick to notice things that, oh my gosh, this is new. So as a programmer, I just encourage you guys, well, for all the programmers out there, just keep considering not only different kinds of landscapes, different kinds of ideas that you want to, different things that the character is playing is going to do, experience per level. Basically, aside from all the things that you put in a level, it's interesting to kind of play with the idea of different ways of moving around the level. So like swimming, riding on the back of a sea turtle, flying, sitting on a Pegasus, sailing, canoeing, rowing, that kind of thing. Going on horseback, of course. We've done that. The Elder Scrolls did that with horses. Or, hey, riding an elephant, even in a more tropical type game. But maybe being in some kind of flying aircraft, a hot air balloon or blimp, flying those guys. So just, and of course in Alice Madness Returns, I think it was one of the first ones, there was one time when you were floating on a leaf. Of course, you're very small as being Alice. And that, I think all these kinds of things that programmers can really look into a bit more, with the different ways of moving around. Make everything a bit more creative. It's more imaginative, more enjoyable that way. So, with the video game Loom, way back in the early 90s, I think. So the first area that you're in that game, it's dark, a lot of blues and blacks. It's at night, basically. It's in this small little village. And then eventually, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, at the next level you sail across ocean or water, not really ocean, but you get in a boat, you sail across the water, get to a place where it's really green, really good green grass, and like this emerald palace of some sort. It's a lot of greens in the next area. After that, kind of more rustic, and then you get to a dragon's location, you get to caves. The caves are very black or darker, blues and purples in there. And eventually you get, past that point to go down a staircase, and there's a red sunset, fire red sunset. It's a castle and things, and there's like a weapons forge. And after that point, it's pretty quick after that, you get to some of the final stages of the game, and there's a starry kind of ending location. It looks like kind of like a pond, but it's like the pond's reflecting the stars. It's kind of cool. But so every single area in Loom was kind of a little bit unique. And Legend of Kyrandia kind of did something similar to that, where you had a foresty setting at first. You went to caves with the glowing berries that you needed to navigate the area. Went back to forests, and eventually got to the castle, which I actually, I never really got to that point playing that game, because they made the game too difficult, I think. In the third area, we went back to the forest areas. So, anyway, I've had some other ideas, just, in that end myself, of course. Just ideas, my time with video games. Maybe involving gaining magical powers by defeating or interacting in some way with certain kinds of animals or creatures. But the magical powers relating directly to the nature, the magical power gained by the main character would relate directly to the nature of the animal, the magical creature. So a classic example would be if the main character had some kind of successful interaction, either defeating an evil spider, or talking with it and making a deal, or whatever. Maybe the main character could gain the ability to cast silk, like being like Spider-Man. But or maybe gain the ability to climb up walls, or some kind of poison-related projectile weapon or something. So, but that's an idea that could be developed a bit more, used a bit more, as well as, I like the idea of different family members or whoever getting lost in a like immense kind of wonderland and having the main character is playing, trying to find them, while, of course, encountering all kinds of other situations as well. And it's very open-ended. I think it's a good idea. It can be developed a lot more in the future. So, anyway, just some food for thought for you guys in this kind of other video about dreams, video games. Some of my favorite things to sometimes think about. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. All right, take care. Bye.